Here we're asked to simplify each of the following rational expressions. To do this, we are going to be adding fractions, meaning we need a common denominator. So when we're going through this, the first one here, when I am trying to get a common denominator, I'm going to multiply the right side here by 4 over 4. Right, we're multiplying this right side by a giant 1 and the left side by 5 over 5, which we're multiplying by a giant 1. So on the bottom now, I get 20 for both of them. And on the top, I'm just going to distribute the 5 on the left and the 4 on the right. So I get 5x plus 10 and 4x minus 12. Now, because I have a common denominator, I can just combine the top. So I add them together to get 9x minus 2 on the top, and then my remainder stays 20. Second one, I gotta get a common denominator. So again, multiplying by this giant 1 on both sides in this situation. And so on the, I'll call my denominator here, not f, I will call my denominator 5 times 2 minus x. I'm going to leave it factored for now. We may multiply it back later, but for now we're going to keep it. Now on the left side, we got 20. On the right side, we have to distribute, so we get 2x minus x squared. And because now I have a common denominator, I can add the top. So I'm going to put it in standard form. So I'm going to start with negative x squared plus 2x plus 20 over 5 times 2 minus x. I'm going to do one thing really quick just to double check here. I'm not really sure if this is my final answer or not. So I'm going to start by factoring out a negative 1 here on the top. So what I mean by that is all of my signs are going to change. So it's going to become positive, negative, negative, and multiplied by negative 1. I'm doing that just to see if I can factor this out here and see if I can then cancel later on. So I'm going to diamond and box this to go ahead and factor this trinomial here. I'm going to get, let's see here, is there anything that multiplies to negative 20 that adds to negative 2? Nope, doesn't look like it. So can't factor that, so I'm going to go ahead and I guess we'll leave this as our final answer. If you multiply the stuff back in, then great. If not, that's okay too. Last one here, I'm going to get a common denominator, so x plus 2 over x plus 2 on the right, x minus 2 over x minus 2 on the left. So my new denominator is x minus 2 times x plus 2. Which is ending up going to be like difference of squares, like the opposite of that. But I'll deal with that later. So I'm going to distribute that 6 to get 6x minus 12. Distribute the 4 to get 4x plus 8. Now that I have a common denominator, I can combine the top. Now, biggest mistake people make here is that they just subtract 6x and 4x. But you need to distribute the negative when you're subtracting fractions like this. So what that means, it's really going to be 6x minus 12 minus 4x minus 8 on the top, and then my denominator on the bottom. So now when I combine like terms, I get 2x minus 20 over x minus 2, x plus 2. And again, my final step here, I'm just going to see if I can factor anything and see if anything will cancel out. In this case, nothing does cancel, so I'll leave my answer like this. Now, just as a heads up, depending on your teacher, some people might want, your answer all the way multiplied in and simplified. Some people want it all the way factored out. Again, for me, I don't care either way. I like to factor it out like this just to double check to see if we can cancel anything.